Some people say conspiracy theorists wear tinfoil hats. But what if they were just a little early to the truth? Here are the top 10 conspiracy theories that turned out real. Let's open up the files. Let's start with the big one, Project MKUltra. For years it lived in the shadows of rumour, until the CIA finally declassified portions of it. Between the 50s and 70s, the US government actually did conduct secret experiments on unwitting citizens to explore mind control. And no, this wasn't just a handful of rogue scientists. This was organised, funded and protected under multiple American presidents. They used LSD, sensory deprivation, electroshock treatments, sometimes on people who didn't even know they were being experimented on. One operation, dubbed Sub-Project 68, wiped patients' memories clean, only to rebuild them through repetition. Sounds like a horror movie, but it happened. Entire lives were quietly rewritten. And here's the kicker. Some of the records were destroyed in 1973 under CIA orders, meaning we'll never know just how far it went. Sleep well. The Tuskegee syphilis study is one of the darkest chapters in US medical history. From 1932 to 1972, the US Public Health Service conducted a study on nearly 400 black men in Alabama who had syphilis. But the twist? The men weren't told they had it. They were promised free treatment for bad blood. What they received instead was decades of observation while the disease ravaged their bodies. Even after penicillin became the standard cure in the 1940s, they were intentionally denied treatment. The government wanted to see what would happen, and they did. Infections passed to wives, children born with complications. It all finally came to light in the 70s, and public trust was shattered. Rightfully so. Here's something that sounds like it was ripped from a rejected Cold War movie script, Operation Northwoods. In the early 1960s, US military leadership under the Joint Chiefs of Staff actually proposed staging terror attacks on American soil. The goal? To fake Cuban aggression as a pretext to justify war against Fidel Castro. We're talking about blowing up a US ship, hijacking passenger planes, even staging attacks on US cities, all to manipulate the public into supporting a war. President Kennedy shut it down, and shortly after, well, you know how his story ends. The documents were kept secret until they were declassified in the 90s. Conspiracy, once. Confirmed now. Before that smartphone in your pocket, Big Brother already had his eyes on you. In the 1970s, a CIA program called Chaos went rogue. Its mission? Spy on domestic political dissidents, radical college students, and peace movement leaders during a time of high tension and protest. Although the agency was supposed to operate only outside US borders, that line became very, very blurry. The scope of surveillance? Over 7,000 US citizens, secret files, bugged phones, mail interception. Even the FBI joined the party, compiling their own files on suspected individuals. Once exposed, it caused a political earthquake. But honestly, most people have already forgotten it happened. In the 50s through the 70s, the FBI ran a program called COINTELPRO. Sound harmless? It wasn't. The counterintelligence program targeted civil rights leaders, political activists, anyone they deemed subversive. That includes Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and members of the Black Panther Party. Their tactics? Harassment, infiltration, false imprisonment, even blackmail. Ever heard of that anonymous letter sent to MLK urging him to take his own life? That came directly from the FBI. It all became public in 1971 when activists broke into an FBI office and leaked documents to the press. The government confirmed the papers, and we were never quite the same after. Cloud seeding, weather control, and military tests. Enter Operation Popeye. Sounds playful, right? It wasn't. During the Vietnam War, the US used chemical agents to manipulate weather over the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Think extended monsoons to flood supply routes. The technology worked, leading to erosion, failed crops, and prolonged conflicts. Congress found out in 1974 and were not thrilled. It forced international discussions on banning weather warfare. But here's the thing, cloud seeding still happens. Not always for war, but maybe. Not always not. The declassified Gulf of Tonkin documents confirmed something we weren't supposed to know. In 1964, 2 US destroyers supposedly came under attack by North Vietnamese forces. That incident was used by President Lyndon B. Johnson to justify escalating the Vietnam War. But later, investigation revealed the second attack didn't happen. Radar blips were misread. Orchestrated misunderstanding? Possibly. The Johnson administration had been itching for a reason to push forward. That one imaginary skirmish cost over 58,000 American lives. Sometimes the scariest conspiracy is when silence is used as a weapon. Operation Mockingbird is one of those conspiracies that sounds too dramatic, but it's real. In the early years of the Cold War, the CIA didn't just collect intelligence. They shaped it. They infiltrated newsrooms, placed agents in major media outlets like the New York Times, Time magazine, and even international publications. Journalists passed their articles through CIA censors. Some even travelled alongside operatives. The line between reporting and propaganda smeared beyond recognition. The programme, eventually exposed in 1976 by the Church Committee, officially ended. But let's be honest, when was the last time you truly trusted the news? Ever notice how Big Tobacco managed to avoid the hammer of truth for decades? That's because they actively hid data about how harmful their products really were. In the 1950s, tobacco corporations knew cigarettes caused cancer and were highly addictive. But what did they do? Fund phony studies, push marketing to teens, hire lobbyists to derail health regulations. It wasn't until the 1990s, after tens of thousands of lawsuits, that the internal documents finally cracked open. In court, the industry's own executives were forced to admit they lied, for profit. And for decades, the nicotine wasn't the only thing addictive. So was the cover-up. Let's talk about the big one, the NSA. Claims of mass surveillance took centre stage in 2013 thanks to one man with a flash drive, Edward Snowden. He revealed that the NSA was collecting phone records, internet activity, and private data on everyone. Not just suspected threats, everyone. The PRISM program partnered with major corporations, including Apple, Google, and Facebook, to sweep up communications in the name of national security. For years, people joked that their phones listened to them. Then documents confirmed it wasn't a joke. It opened a global debate about privacy. But here's the real twist. It's still happening. Just renamed. So the next time someone says that's just a conspiracy theory, maybe ask, how long till it hits the news? If you made it this far, thank you. Truly. Hit like, get subscribed, and remember, we drop these files every weeknight. Sleep tight out there. And stay curious. That was your dose of the unknown. See you in the next file. Subscribe for more of the unknown.